In the vast and ever-changing universe of gaming, few phenomena have been as meteoric as the rise of Fall Guys. This quirky, physics-based battle royale game burst onto the scene in the summer of 2020, and it wasn't long before it had gamers, streamers, and even non-gamers hooked. When Fall Guys was first released by Meteoric, it was unlike anything anyone had seen before. The game was a vibrant, jelly-bean-filled universe where players battled it out in a series of zany, obstacle-laden rounds. Its unique gameplay, combined with its whimsical and colorful aesthetics, quickly set it apart from the crowd. This wasn't your average battle royale. This was something different, something fun. In a world filled with gritty, realistic shooters and strategy games, Fall Guys was a breath of fresh air. It was a game that didn't take itself too seriously, and players loved it for that. It was a game where you could be a pirate one minute and a hot dog the next, all while trying to navigate through a chaotic course filled with giant fruits and spinning hammers. And the numbers reflected its popularity. In just a few short months, Fall Guys had amassed millions of players worldwide. It became the most downloaded PS Plus game of all time. The gaming community was abuzz with excitement, and Fall Guys was at the center of it all. Streamers were streaming, players were playing, and everyone was having a blast. But it wasn't just the fun gameplay that made Fall Guys so popular. It was the sense of community it fostered. Players could team up with friends or make new ones in the game. It was a place where people could come together, laugh, and have a good time. Fall Guys was on top of the world, a beacon of fun and innovation in the gaming industry. But as quickly as Fall Guys rose, it began to stumble and fall. Let's rewind to the post-launch period of Fall Guys. The game's vibrant colors and whimsical, physics-based gameplay had initially captivated players worldwide, but it wasn't long before cracks started to appear in this seemingly perfect facade. The first major issue that players began to notice was the repetitive nature of the game. Each round consisted of a series of mini-games, and while these were fun at first, the lack of variety soon became a sticking point. The same maps, the same challenges, over and over again led to a sense of monotony. Players were yearning for new content, but the developers seemed slow to deliver. Then came the server issues. As the player count skyrocketed, the servers struggled to keep up. Laggy matches and frequent disconnections were becoming all too common, fracturing the once seamless gameplay experience. The frustration was palpable, and the player count started to dwindle. To further complicate matters, the game was plagued by an infestation of hackers. Cheaters using speed hacks, flying hacks, and more were running rampant, ruining the gaming experience for legitimate players. The developers were slow to respond, and when they did, the measures taken were often ineffective. And the gaming community? They were starting to lose interest. The initial hype was fading, replaced by a growing sentiment of disappointment. The game that was once the talk of the town was now being overshadowed by newer, more innovative titles. Player counts were dropping, and the once bustling servers were slowly becoming ghost towns. But perhaps the most damning evidence of Fall Guys' decline was the sharp decrease in its player count. From a peak of millions of players in its first few weeks, the count had dropped to mere thousands within a matter of months. The once shining star of the gaming world was now starting to lose its luster. The fall of Fall Guys was not a sudden crash, but a slow and painful descent. In the world of gaming, staying relevant is key. Fall Guys, despite its initial success, struggled to keep pace with the evolving demands of gamers. The game's developers, Meteoric, released new seasons with fresh content and updates, but they were often met with mixed reviews. Many players felt the new additions were not innovative enough, and the game quickly became repetitive. The gaming landscape is a competitive one, with new games constantly entering the market. Fall Guys found itself up against formidable rivals, including the likes of Among Us and Fortnite. These games managed to keep their players engaged with regular, substantial updates and a strong community presence. Fall Guys, on the other hand, struggled to match this level of engagement. The game started to lose its player base, and with it, its spot in the limelight. The developers also grappled with the unexpected scale of their success. The game's servers often buckled under the pressure of so many players logging in at once, leading to lag and connection issues. This technical hiccup, combined with the lack of fresh, engaging content, further drove players away. In a bid to salvage the situation, Meteoric tried to address these issues. They ramped up server capacity, introduced crossplay, and even launched new versions of the game on different platforms. However, these efforts were not enough to stem the tide. The game's player base continued to dwindle, and Fall Guys slipped further down the gaming charts. A combination of these factors led to the fall of Fall Guys. What was once a game that captured the hearts of millions around the world quickly became a title that struggled to maintain its relevance. The developers tried their best to adapt and evolve, but the gaming world is a fickle one. Fall Guys, once a titan in the gaming industry, had now fallen into the shadows. The story of Fall Guys is a cautionary tale for the gaming industry. The colorful, chaotic, and whimsical game took the world by storm, only to tumble just as swiftly. But why did Fall Guys fall? Primarily, it was a combination of three major factors. First, a lack of fresh, engaging content. Gamers crave novelty, and without continuous updates and new challenges, interest waned. Second, the inability to handle rapid success. The sudden influx of players put a strain on servers, creating a less-than-ideal gaming experience for many. Lastly, the game failed to evolve with gamer demands, not adapting quickly enough to changing trends and preferences in the industry. It's a stark reminder for other game developers. Success isn't just about creating a fun game, it's about sustaining it. The rise and fall of Fall Guys is a testament to the fickle nature of the gaming industry, where today's hit can be tomorrow's forgotten game.